Captain Eli Mercer stood near the large window of the intergalactic peace station, watching ships from dozens of alien worlds arrive. The station floated in deep space like a giant steel flower, glowing with lights. Inside, it was full of strange smells, languages, and creatures. For many humans, this place felt overwhelming, but not for Eli. He was calm, focused, and always alert. Eli worked for the Terran Alliance, the united force of Earth's nations. His job was to protect human diplomats during peace talks. Most days were boring standing near politicians and watching aliens argue about trade deals, but today something felt different. He checked his wrist scanner. One of the Asari ships had just docked. The Asari were a powerful warrior race. Tall, silver-skinned, and telepathic, they were both. Respected and feared. Their royal family rarely left their homeworld, yet a high-level diplomat was coming today. Eli moved through the halls, scanning faces, checking corners. He didn't like surprises, then dash boom. The floor shook, the lights flickered. Smoke filled the corridor ahead. Explosion in Sector D. Someone shouted on the comms. Without thinking, Eli ran toward the blast as he turned the corner. He saw a group of guards struggling to stand, and in the middle, coughing and dazed, was a woman in glowing silver armor. Her long white hair was stained with soot, and her eyes bright violet, locked onto his. Princess Virelia. Eli had only seen her face on diplomatic screens. She was next in line to rule the Yasari Empire. No one expected her to come in person. Now she was lying on the floor, dazed and in danger. Eli reached her just as part of the ceiling collapsed, pulled her close, shielded her with his body, and rolled behind cover. Debris crashed down where she had been seconds ago, when the dust settled. Virelia looked at him with surprise. "You are human," she said, her voice calm but curious. "Yes. Captain Eli Mercer, Terran Security," he replied. "You protected me," she said. "You put your body between mine and danger." "Got it. It's my job," Eli said. "Are you hurt?" Virelia touched her arm. "Minor burns. Nothing broken." More guards arrived and surrounded them. Sorry warriors in sharp armor stared at Eli, ready to pull him away. But Virelia raised her hand. "No, he saved me." "No." The guards hesitated. "I wish to speak to the human, alone." Later that evening, in a private medical chamber, Eli stood by while Virelia was treated. The explosion was no accident. Had placed a timed charge. A message from an enemy faction. Maybe a warning. Virelia sat upright, her posture proud even with cuts on her face. "I have read much about your species," she said. "I'm guessing not all of it good," Eli said, keeping his tone light. She tilted her head. "You are odd. Your people are primitive compared to us. Yet you stand tall. You do not bow. Even now, you do not look away." "I don't bow to anyone," he said calmly. There was a moment of silence. Then unexpectedly she laughed. Deep, musical laugh that echoed in the room. "You are bold. I like that." Eli shrugged. "Most people don't." "I am not most people," she replied. She stood up, ignoring the doctors. Her armor shimmered in the low light. She stepped close to Eli and looked into his eyes. "In my culture," she said, "when someone protects you at the risk of their own life, they earn the right to ask for anything." Eli raised an eyebrow. "Anything?" "Yes. Wealth. Title. Land. Even marriage." He chuckled. "Good to know. I'll keep that in mind." She did not smile. Instead, she looked serious. "Then I ask you instead. What do you want, Eli Mercer?" He blinked. "Me," yes, she said. "What would you ask of a princess?" "I don't need anything," he said. "I was just doing my duty." She studied him for a moment. Then she stepped even closer. "Then I will ask something," she said, her voice soft but clear. "Do I have to do to marry you, human?" Eli froze. For a moment, he thought he misheard her, but she was staring at him, calm and sincere. "You're joking, right?" "I do not joke," she said. My people rarely feel what you call interest, but I feel it now. Eli was a trained soldier. He had survived battlefields, space pirates, and political traps. But right now, standing in front of this alien princess, he had no idea what to say. Why me? He asked, "You are not like others. You risked your life without knowing who I was. You do not beg. You do not flatter. You are real." Eli scratched his head. "Listen, Your Highness, I appreciate the honor. But humans don't marry like that. We date, we get to know each other. We fall in love." "I have read of these customs," she said. "I am willing to try them. Teach me." Eli laughed, not mockingly, but out of shock. "You're serious?" "Always am," she replied. Just then, the door opened, and 2 Terran diplomats rushed in. "Captain Mercer."
Captain Mercer.
"We just got the reports. Are you all right?"
Yeah.
Said, still looking at Varelia. "More or less." The diplomats stopped in their tracks. When they saw the princess standing so close to him, she turned to them and spoke. "This human has earned my respect. I will host him on my ship as a guest of honor. If your alliance agrees." The diplomats exchanged nervous glances. Eli sighed. "Guess I'm going to space dinner with a princess." That night, back in his quarters, Eli sat alone, thinking. He had seen many strange things in his life. But this was new. An alien princess wants to marry me. Not for politics. It's not for power. But because of who I am. He looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there was a silver ship waiting to take him to a world he didn't understand. For a custom he had never imagined. He didn't know what the next day would bring. But deep down, something told him it wouldn't be boring. Not with Princess Varelia in his life. Captain Eli Mercer stood at the edge of the landing bay, staring at the massive silver ship in front of him. The Asari royal cruiser looked like a giant bird made of light and metal. Its wings curved upward, glowing with soft blue energy. Asari guard walked over and handed him a smooth, silver cube. "This is your guest translator and culture guide," the guard said in perfect English. "It will help you understand our customs." Eli nodded and stepped onto the ship. The inside was quiet, with soft lights and clean white walls. The air smelled like flowers mixed with metal. Everything was strange, yet somehow peaceful. Then, he saw her. Princess Varelia stood at the center of the ship's grand hall. She wore a flowing silver robe, her long white hair tied back. Her violet eyes locked on his the moment he entered. "Welcome aboard, Eli Mercer," she said. "Yes, you are now a guest of the Asari Empire." "I feel like I just walked into a dream," Eli replied. "You did," she said. "Now let's see if you can survive it." They sat together in the royal chamber room, shaped like a circle. With a view of the stars all around them, Varelia offered him a drink in a crystal cup. It tasted like honey and mint. "You should know something," she said. "In Usari tradition, to join the royal bloodline, a suitor must complete 3 trials. Eli raised an eyebrow. "You mean like tests?" "Yes," she said. "They are not just physical. They are spiritual, mental, and emotional." "And you want me to go through them? You wish to understand me? I wish to understand you. Trials will help with that," she explained. Eli leaned back in his seat. "All right, what kind of trials are we talking about?" "Varelia's." Lips curved slightly into a smile. "Let me show you. Trial 1. The trial of Maitha next morning." Eli found himself standing in an open arena deep inside the ship. The walls were lined with glowing symbols. Above them, Yazri nobles and warriors watched from balconies. In front of Eli stood a tall, muscular alien wearing light armor. His skin was silver blue, and his eyes were sharp. "This is General Corvax Varelia," said. "He is one of our greatest fighters. You must face him in the arena." Eli stared at the man, then looked back at Varelia. "You want me to fight him? I'm not a gladiator. This is not a fight to the death," she said. "It is a trial of courage, not destruction. You must prove your strength of heart, not just strength of arm." Corvax nodded and stepped forward. "I do not wish to harm you, human, but I will not go easy." Eli stretched his arms. "I wouldn't want you to." The battle began. Corvax moved fast, like a blur. Eli ducked, rolled, and dodged. He couldn't match the general's strength, but he used his speed and brain. Every time Korvax charged, Eli used the arena walls or objects around him to create. Trapped after several minutes, Eli threw a flash grenade from his belt, blinding the general for a moment. He rushed forward and knocked Korvax's weapon from his hand. Then, stepped back. The crowd went silent. "You could have taken him down," Virilia said. "I could have," Eli replied, "but I didn't come here to win. I came to show you who I am." General Korvax picked up his weapon, smiled, and bowed. "The human wins," he declared. The arena exploded with strange musical cheers. Trial 2. The trial of mind that evening, Virilia took Eli to a chamber called the Mirror of Memory. Inside, the air shimmered like water. The walls reflected more than just images, they reflected thoughts. "You must enter," Virilia said, "and face your past." Eli stepped inside. Instantly, he was pulled into a world of memory. He saw earth-burned cities, broken skies. He saw himself as a young soldier, holding his brother's body during the war on Titan's moon. He heard his brother's voice. "You always try to save everyone. But who saves you, Eli?" Eli fell to his knees, breathing hard. Suddenly, Virelia's voice echoed inside the room. She was seeing everything too. She watched his pain, his guilt, his fear. She saw the strong man the world thought he was, and the broken boy underneath. When he stepped out of the chamber, he was shaking, but he stood tall. "I'm not proud of everything I've done," he said to her. "You don't need to be," she replied gently. "You carry your pain with honor. That is strength." Trial 3. The Trial of Unity. The final trial was not in a room. It was during a meal. Virilia brought Eli to a private dinner with the USRE High Council. The table was round, with food from many galaxies. The air was tense. One of the elders spoke. "Why should a human be welcomed into the royal family?" Added, "Your species is still young, emotional, unstable." Eli stood up slowly, looked at every face at the table. "You think we're unstable because we feel?" he said. "But emotions are not weakness. Love, pain, hope, fear, these things make us human and they make us strong." He paused, then added, "Humanity doesn't conquer with guns. We survive with heart. We build connections. We fight for each other. That's what unity means to us." The room was silent. Then Virilia stood beside him, "And that is why I choose him." Later that night on the viewing deck, the stars glowed around them. Eli stood beside Virilia in silence. "So, pass?" he asked. She smiled. "You passed better than I expected." "You sure?" "I didn't exactly beat your champion." "No," she said. "But you earned his respect." He looked at her. "You really think this could work? A human and an alien princess?" "I don't." "No," she admitted, "but I'm willing to find out." They stood there together, looking at the stars, and for the first time in a long while, Eli felt peace. The Asari royal cruiser drifted through space, silent and beautiful like a silver arrow in the dark. Inside the ship, Captain Eli Mercer stood in front of a glowing red gate. This was the entrance to the trial of fire and soul. Virilia stood beside him, her hands clasped behind her back. Her armor shimmered, but her face looked calm. "This is not one of the official 3 trials," she said softly. "This is something older, something personal." Eli looked at the red gate. Flames danced behind it, and a strange wind blew from the cracks. "What's inside?" he asked. "Yourself," Virilia answered, before he could ask more. The gate opened. Inside the trial of fire and soul, the air burned hot. The floor was black stone. Fire floated in the air like living creatures. This was a test, not of strength, but of memory of truth. As Eli stepped forward, the fire twisted and formed a figure. A boy young, frightened, holding a broken helmet. Eli froze. He knew that boy. It was him, the vision spoke. "Why did you let him die, Eli?" Another figure appeared. His brother Leo. The same smile. The same voice. "You said we'd both make it home." I tried, Eli whispered. I tried everything, but I'm gone, and you're still here, the memory said. So what now? Eli dropped to his knees. The fire pressed close. Like it was listening, I keep going, he said. Even if it hurts. Even if I don't know what's next, I keep going. The flames began to cool. The memory faded. The heat turned soft. When Eli stepped out of the chamber, sweat poured down. His face. But his eyes were clear. Varelia waited for him in silence. You saw? He asked. She nodded. I saw, and I understand. She reached forward and gently touched his shoulder. I thought humans were weak because you feel too much, she said. Now I see it's the opposite. You are strong because you feel. A storm in the dark later that evening. Celebration was held in the Asari Great Hall. Nobles from across the empire gathered to honor Eli's success. Lights shimmered across the crystal walls. Music played strange but beautiful. Eli stood beside Varelia, dressed in black ceremonial robes. He felt like a stranger in a dream. You've impressed them, she said. Even the old ones. Not bad for a hairless ape, Eli joked. She laughed softly. You're more than that. Much more. A figure moved through the crowd. He wore dark armor and held a metal cane. His face was cold. Lord Varn, Varelia said, her voice sharp. Your Highness, Varn said. And the human. The guest. Eli gave a small nod. Nice to meet you. Varn's eyes narrowed. Is it true? You mean to marry him? Varelia didn't blink. Yes, that is a mistake, Varn said. He is not Yazari. He is soft. He completed the trials, she replied. Varn stepped closer. Be careful who you trust, Princess. Not everyone supports your path. With that, he turned and walked away. Eli watched him go. He doesn't like me much. He doesn't like change, Varelia said. And you are change. Assassination attempt later that night, Eli couldn't sleep. Something felt wrong. He walked the quiet halls of the ship, passing silver walls and glowing lights. The ship was peaceful, but Eli had learned long ago to trust his instincts. As he turned a corner, he heard a faint humming sound. A high-pitched whine. A bomb. He ran. The energy field protecting Varelia's chamber was down. Burst through the door just in time to see a drone hovering above her bed. Varelia, get down. She opened her eyes as Eli tackled her off the bed. The drone fired, missing by inches, then exploded. The blast threw them across the room. Alarms screamed. Guards rushed in seconds later. Smoke filled the chamber. Eli coughed and helped Varelia. Sit up. Are you okay? She nodded, dazed. Yes, you. I'm fine, he said, even though his side was bleeding. Varn arrived with more guards. What happened? A drone tried to kill her, Eli said. It was cloaked. Someone let it in. Varn stared at him. Are you accusing one of us? I'm not accusing. I'm warning, Eli said. Someone doesn't want this marriage to happen. Aftermath in the ship's medical wing, Varelia sat beside Eli as his wounds were cleaned. He winced as the Asari doctor sealed the cut. On his ribs? You keep saving me, she said. I guess it's becoming a habit, he replied. She reached out and held his hand. I knew there would be enemies. I didn't know they would strike so soon. They're afraid, Eli said. Of change. Of peace. She looked at him. And you. Are you afraid? Yes, he admitted, but not of them. Then what? Of what happens next? What this means. I didn't come here expecting to fall for you. Her eyes softened. But you have. He looked into her eyes. Yeah, I think I have. They sat in silence. No more guards. No more war talk. Just two people from two worlds finding something rare. End of part 3. Eli had completed the trials. He had passed the fire. He had saved her again, but danger still lingered. Someone powerful wanted this union to fail, and Eli Mercer knew one thing for sure. The hardest part wasn't the trials. It was just beginning. The Asari royal ship floated in orbit above a blue gas giant, surrounded by 3 golden moons. Inside, the mood was no longer festive. The halls were silent. Guards doubled at every gate. Everyone whispered about the same thing, the assassination. Attempted had been 2 days since someone tried to kill Princess Virelia. No one had been arrested. No name had been given. But suspicions spread like wildfire. Captain Eli Mercer walked with purpose down the glass hallway, ignoring the stares. From alien nobles? His wound from the blast was healing, but something deeper was burning inside him, anger. In a fierce need to protect, he entered the council chamber, where Virelia stood in the center, facing 12 elders of the Asari High Court. They sat in tall chairs, their eyes glowing with quiet judgment. Virelia glanced at him with calm strength. Shouldn't have come. Too bad, Eli said. I'm not leaving you alone in this. Accusations and Shadow's elder Malin, the oldest of the council, leaned forward. This human, he said, voice dry like stone, has brought danger into our empire. And now, you wish to marry him? I do, Virelia answered. Then your judgment is in question. Eli stepped forward. Excuse me, elders, he said. But if someone tried to kill the princess, maybe you should be looking for the one who sent the drone. Not blaming the man who saved her life, the council murmured. One of them, a younger noble, narrowed his eyes. And who are you to speak? In this sacred place, human. I'm the one who risked his life for your future queen, Eli replied. The one who passed your trials. I earned the right to speak. There was silence. Then, unexpectedly, a new voice echoed from the doorway. I can confirm the human speaks truth. All heads turned. General Korvax entered, armor gleaming. He saluted the elders and looked directly at Eli. I fought him. I watched him survive the mirror of memory. I've studied thousands of warriors in my life. Fan, this one has the spirit of 10. Virelia looked at Korvax with surprise. You support our union? I do now, he said, because if we do not change, we will fall behind. Rebellion. Beneath the throne, as the council began to argue among themselves, Virelia turned to Eli and whispered, We have a problem. Bigger than assassination? He asked. Yes, there's rebellion in the lower ranks. Some of the fleet officers are refusing orders, and someone has been leaking royal data to outside enemies. Eli frowned. You think it's Varn? I don't have proof, she said. But he has the ambition and the power we need. To expose him, Eli said, not just for us, for your people. A dangerous plan that night, Virelia and Eli sat together on the ship's star deck. The stars looked like a frozen ocean around them. She touched his hand gently. I never imagined I'd love someone not born under my sky. I never imagined I'd want to live on a ship, he said with a smile. Yet here I am. Afraid, Eli? Me too. They sat for a moment in silence. Then Virelia said, We need to draw out the traitor. Make him move. Eli thought for a moment. You want to announce the wedding? Yes. If we go public, they'll panic. Whoever is behind the attack will try again fast and loud. And when they do, Eli finished, we'll catch them. The announcement the next morning. Every screen on the ship and across the SRI Empire lit up with the same message. Princess Virelia to marry Earth Captain Eli Mercer. First interspecies royal union in Yasari history. The people responded with mixed emotions. Some cheered, some wept, some screamed in anger. On Earth, the news went viral in seconds. Captain Mercer marries an alien princess, hero, or traitor. Earth enters a new chapter. In the throne chamber, Virelia stood tall beside Eli. Dozens of reporters and council members stood below the royal platform suddenly. Someone shouted from the back, This is treason! Everyone turned. Lord Vaughn, he marched forward, flanked by 5 soldiers, loyal to him. You have betrayed your bloodline, he said to Virelia. And you, human, have no right to stand in this chamber. Eli slowly stepped forward. You're the one who sent the drone, aren't you? Varn laughed coldly. Prove it. Eli pulled a small device from his coat. Already did. The room went silent as Eli pressed a button. A hollow recording projected above them, taken from the drone's memory. Lord Varn's voice. Strike. When the human is near, let him die with her. The council will thank me. Gasps. Shouts. Varn's face turned pale. You manipulated the Empire, Varelia said. You will face judgment. No, Varn shouted. I will not bow to this. Alliance? He raised a weapon butt before he could fire. General Corvax moved like lightning and tackled him to the ground. The crowd erupted. Guards rushed in. Varn was arrested. The rebellion ended that day. One heart, two worlds after the dust settled. Eli stood at the top of the crystal steps of the throne hall. He looked out over the Asari people, thousands of them watching from the projection screens in city towers. He took a deep breath and spoke. I am not Yasari. I am human. I have made mistakes, and I still have much to learn. But I know this. Love is not limited by species. Peace is not built by walls. And unity are real, unity are real. It happens when we dare to believe in something greater than fear. He turned to Varelia and smiled. Your princess is the bravest person I've ever met. And if you'll let me, I'll stand by her side not as a conqueror, but as her partner. The crowd was silent for a long moment. Then, it cheered later that night in the royal garden. Under silver trees and floating lights, Varelia and Eli walked hand in hand. You risked everything, she said. So did you. You could have died. So could you. They stopped walking. The stars reflected in her violet eyes. Eli, she whispered, I asked you once what I have to do to marry you. Now I ask again, but for real. Eli smiled. You've already done it. He knelt down, pulled out a tiny silver ring, a human ring, simple and beautiful. Princess Varelia of the Asari. Will you marry me? She laughed softly, eyes shining.
Ice.
1,000 stars, yes.
Us.
They kissed under the alien sky. Above the third moon of Yuzari, a giant space station slowly rotated. It was shaped like a flower, glowing softly in blue light. It was the Royal Sky Pavilion, built only once every 1,000 years for great ceremonies. Today, that station prepared for a rare event. Not a coronation. Not a war meeting. A wedding. Princess Varelia of Yasari was to marry a human captain. Eli Mercer of Earth. The galaxy was watching. Many leaders from different alien races had come to witness the event. News drones hovered in space, human. And Yasari ships flew side by side in peace. But peace is always tested. In the shadows of the asteroid belt, the enemy fleet waited. A group of ancient alien extremists, known as the Black. Circle watched and prepared. They hated unity, they hated humans, and they would not allow this marriage to happen. The final, Tiseli stood alone in his chamber, adjusting the collar of his wedding robe. It was a mix of Yasari crystal blue and Earth's black silk. He looked into the mirror and saw a man who had changed someone. He came from war and found love among stars. There was a knock at the door. General Corvax entered. You look uncomfortable, the warrior said. I'm about to marry an alien princess in front of half the galaxy, Eli said. Of course I'm uncomfortable. Corvax smiled, rare and proud. We're doing something greater than fighting. You're building something new. Then he handed Eli a small metal object. What's this? Eli asked. A hidden shield, Corvax said. Just in case. Some shadows still move. Eli nodded and tucked it into his robe. The walk of light, meanwhile. Varelia stood with her handmaidens, dressed in an elegant silver and violet dress. Small. Floating lights circled her, reacting to her emotions. You look nervous, my princess, one maid said. I'm not nervous, Varelia replied, taking a deep breath. I'm ready. She stepped forward onto the long floating bridge made of transparent energy. The wedding path stretched between two towers of light. With stars glowing behind them, Eli waited at the center, heart pounding as Varelia approached. The people cheered. Human and Yasari voices mixed. For the first time in history, they stood side by side, not in fear, but in joy. The royal priest began the vows. The stars above dimmed to allow the stage to shine brighter. Do you, Princess Varelia of the Usari Empire, choose this human to be your bondmate, your partner, and your equal? I do, she said, voice steady. Do you, Captain Eli? Mercer of Earth, choose this princess to be your heart, your home, and your future. I do, Eli said, eyes locked on hers. The priest raised his hands to declare them one. But then, the sky turned red. The Sky Turns explosions rocked the station. The shields shook. People screamed and ducked. The floating bridge shivered under their feet. Outside the station, dark ships fired plasma bolts at the royal fleet. Black Circle warships had arrived. They had come to stop the wedding with fire. Everyone evacuate. A guard shouted. No, Varelia shouted. They want fear. They want chaos. We will not give it to them. Eli took her hand. Can't finish the ceremony now. She looked at him fiercely. Yes, we can. While under attack. We finish what we started. That's what humans say, isn't it? Eli grinned. Yeah, it is. Fight for the future. Korvax and the guards began returning fire from the tower. Ships launched from the defense bays. Humans joined the Azari fighters. In space, together, they fought the black circle above the station. Back on the platform, Eli and Varelia stood under a protective dome as energy blasts lit the sky. The priest hesitated. We must wait until no, Varelia said. Now. Priest took a breath. Then, by the light of the stars and the promise of peace, I now declare you one, husband and wife. Cheers rose again, louder than before. At that moment, the defense fleet launched its final strike. Human and Usari weapons combined in perfect coordination. Together, they destroyed the Black Circle's command ship. The enemies fell back. The sky cleared, the wedding survived, and so did hope. One dance. 2 Hearts hours later, after the fires were gone and the station repaired, music played in the grand hall. Both Earth and Usari songs echoed through the walls. Eli and Varelia stood in the center, ready for their first dance. You sure you can dance in zero gravity? She teased. Not really, Eli admitted. She laughed and pulled him forward. The two floated slowly in the air, surrounded by soft lights and soft music. People clapped and smiled. It's not just a wedding, Varelia whispered. It's the start of something new. Future, Eli said. Ours. Message to the stars, after the celebration. The new couple stood before a galaxy-wide broadcast screen. Varelia spoke first. To all who watch today, you have seen war, you have seen fear. But today you also saw love, unity, a new path. We come from different worlds, different species. But love does not care about skin, stars, or origin. It only cares about truth. He paused, then looked at the camera directly. Let today be a message. Earth and Usari are now bound not by weapons, but by trust. Let others follow. Final. Scene, a new dawn, months passed. Varelia and Eli now traveled the stars together. They were known as the Bridge Couple, symbols of hope and unity. They visited colonies, stopped small wars, and helped humans and aliens work together. One morning, Eli stood at the window of their ship, watching a sunrise over a green planet. Varelia came behind him and rested her head on his shoulder. Still, glad you said yes? He asked. Always, she said. He turned and kissed her gently, and somewhere far across the galaxy, 2 species dreamed the same dream for the first time, pieced together forever.